Mr. President, I rise to speak in the DISCLOSE Act, and I rise in very strong support of this bill. I want to thank the senator from Rhode Island, Senator Whitehouse, for his leadership on this bill. He brings such great backgrounds with his legal training as Attorney General and a U.S. Attorney, well-versed on the issues of the Constitution, and also a very strong commitment that elections should be free and fair and not rigged by big special interest. Today we have a vote to protect the voice of ordinary Americans who now more than ever need to be able to trust their political system. But you know what? We have a big problem, and it's something called a super PAC. Now, nobody knows what that means, but I'm going to spell it out, plain English. First of all, a super PAC means that you can have unlimited secret money being pumped into our elections. That is not the American way. That's why we're calling our bill the DISCLOSE Act. It is balanced, it's common sense, and it protects the rights of the individual while looking out for the little guy or gal, and also protects the integrity of our political system. Now, I'm a reformer, and I absolutely believe in the Constitution of the United States and that wonderful First Amendment. In our country, you can speak your mind and you can organize. I stand before you today because of the First Amendment. I fought a highway that would have ripped through Baltimore. I challenged political machines and political bosses. I challenged powerful public special interests that were going to make money. But you know what? Because of the Constitution, I had the right to speak my mind, the right to organize, and I did. In other countries, they take people like me and throw them in jail. With me, because of the First Amendment, I could run for an election, do a sweat equity campaign, door to door, and come to the City Council, the Congress, and the United States Senate. I love that First Amendment. Well, right now, under the guise of free speech, there are those who say you can't in any way impede big buck donors or big special interests from giving what they want and not even saying who they are. Now, I think when Tom Jefferson and John Adams and Charles Cowler sat around Philadelphia writing the Constitution, they didn't think that the First Amendment was about protecting the right of secret donors to rig elections. I don't believe that they thought that unfettered influence of super donors and big business with no limits or requirements for disclosures was what the founders wanted when they wrote that Bill of Rights. Now, when the Supreme Court decided on a case called Citizens United, it opened the floodgates to unlimited secret money. Well, we knew there would be risk, and it took no time for it to take root. In the 2010 midterm elections, we saw a fourfold increase in this type of so-called super PAC spending. 3/4 of that spending came from groups that were previously prohibited. And the worst of it, it's all being kept from the American people. Who are these organizations and what they stand for? Now, in a time when when the American public needs a government on their side, they need to know who is working behind the scenes to get people elected. Now, the DISCLOSE Act is simple. It requires a covered organization to file a disclosure with the Federal Election Commission within 24 hours after they spend $10,000 or more on a campaign. Now, who is a covered organization? Corporations, labor unions, PACs, and super PACs. This isn't a new concept for here in Congress. We have regulations. When you're a candidate, whether you're like a candidate Mikulski, you face limits on donors. During a campaign, I have to say who has given me money, I have to disclose who has given me money, and the donor has limits, whether it comes from a political action committee, like the National Association of Social Workers, which has always supported me, whether it is the American Nurses Association, which has always supported me, they disclose it. So we know it's the nurses, we know it's the social workers, and also there are donors who, again, their names appear. Now, why can't that be true for all campaigns? What's wrong about saying who you are when you're giving more than $10,000 a year? The American public has a right to know. They have a right to be heard, and they need to be represented. I'm a Shirley Chisholm Democrat. She said she wanted a government that was unbought and unbossed. Put me in that Shirley Chisholm Democratic column. Our democratic process is currently clouded by a cloak of secrecy. The integrity of our political system is important to me. We aren't sent here to do the business of secrecy or high-dollar bidding on our seat. We're sent here to do the work of the people and make their lives better. We owe it to the public to shed light on who gives us money, who they are, how much they give, and what is it that they do. Let's vote in favor of democracy. Let's support the DISCLOSE Act, and let's have a United States Congress that's unbought and unbossed. Mr. President, I yield the floor.